Hello everyone and welcome back guys to the F1 2019 Charles Leclerc's Road to Glory Ferrari Career Mode, where today we're here for his home race, the Monaco Grand Prix, obviously the most historic track on the Formula 1 calendar. And I must admit, hopefully this weekend we can have a bit of a fairy tale story for Charles Leclerc, maybe even a bit of a Christmas miracle as well, depending on the time you guys are watching this video. It's been a while since I said that, I will be completely honest with you. If you want to sort of know the reasons behind that, there is a post over on the community section of the channel. But yeah, I cannot thank you guys enough for the support over the entirety of this year. But obviously, if you guys are new or you just aren't subscribed to the channel, it would be greatly appreciated if you would do so. We're currently about 65, 70 away from 10k, so if you could help me get one step closer, it'd be massively appreciated on the whole. So yeah, thank you once again for all the support over the course of this year. But yeah, we're here then today for the Monaco Grand Prix. Obviously the highs of last time out in Spain, a massive clawback right the way through the top, you know, the top 6 on the grid after a very tight battle between myself, Mercedes and Red Bull. You know, it was looking very tight. Only you can guess who was going to be on top as we come into this weekend's Grand Prix. Obviously with Spain being a little less downforce orientated than Monaco, and well, clearly Spain bringing the pack right together. You know, it's going to be intriguing to see what happens between the top 3 teams as we head into the Monaco Grand Prix. Obviously, in the background is just going to be my setup, you know, as normal. It's nothing particularly special, you know, if you want to check it out, though, you know, if you're really lost on setups, then, I mean, you can go and do that. But yeah, looking forward to this race. Let's move on then into the qualifying comparison against Daniel Ricciardo's 2018 pole lap here, breaking down into Waterstone just under the little sign there and trying to put the curbs as best as possible. Fortunately for me, it is actually a bit overcast for our weekend. It's not quite as sunny as the 2018 season, which in all honesty has made the track a little bit easier to see on the whole. A little bit of dink with the wall there and a huge slide as we come down the hill in towards this next complex corner. As you can see, Daniel Ricciardo's already got quite a big advantage over myself here, missing the apex horribly through the lows hairpin. And so far, it hasn't been a particularly brilliant lap from Charles Leclerc so far, but hopefully we can try and claw it back in the second half of the lap. Obviously, F1 2018, the game, you know, it does tend to be a little bit OP relative to real life, in the fact, you know, you haven't got that risk factor of, well, if you hit the wall, it's not going to hurt. So yeah, hopefully we can try and utilise that to my advantage. Take a lot of curb through the chicane there, and now as we come through to back, one of my favourite corners on this track, through the next couple of chicanes here, through the swimming pool chicane, trying to get as close to the wall as possible there, actually make a little bit of contact and dink the front wing there, but only 2 corners to go. That's not going to cost us all too much time. Through Anthony Nogan down towards the line. What is it going to be for the Monaco Grand Prix? It is going to be pole position here for Charles Leclerc's home Grand Prix. We couldn't have asked for much more than that there. Near enough a second clear of Daniel Ricciardo's 2018 time, and really happy with that one on the whole there. It's pole position ready then for the Monaco Grand Prix there. 1:09.951 there, just over a 10th quicker than my teammate Sebastian Vettel there, ahead of Hamilton, Gasly, Bottas and Verstappen, all of us separated by just under 4/10 of a second. So certainly going to be very tight as we move into the Monaco Grand Prix. But yeah, pole position here, Ferrari front row lockout. We couldn't have really asked much more than that here, and hopefully, yeah, we can try and win it in the race. Obviously, there's no points for qualifying. It is all down to the race here in Monaco. As I'm sure we're all aware, as we've seen in the past, it's not the easiest track in the world to overtake at as well, so hopefully we can have a good race out. So here we are then on the grid, ready for the Monaco Grand Prix. I'm really looking forward to this race. Hopefully we can have a nice clean race, you know, try and lead from the front, almost asking for a bit of a boring race in a weird enough way. But yeah, looking forward to this one here. Obviously the shortest track on the Formula 1 calendar, probably the most iconic and universally recognised track on the Formula 1 calendar as well here on the well, I can't even remember the coast name now off the top of my head though. That's pretty poor from myself. Yeah, a 2-mile circuit here, 19 turns make up the Monaco Grand Prix. As I said, obviously the only track where in real Formula 1 you don't actually race the full 300 kilometers, or you would probably spend quite a long time doing so if that was to be possible here. There'd be almost 100 laps if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, that would certainly be quite a long old race on the whole. So fortunately for us, obviously only doing 25% race as well, it is only a 20-lap Grand Prix for ourselves as well each time. It does make it a little bit easier on myself as well. See, currently though, we lead the championship standings by 13 points over Mr. Consistent Pierre Gasly. He's had a fantastic season so far. Who would have thought the two boys that moved up to the big teams and now leading 1 and 2 in the World Championship. And Ferrari, obviously, as well, lead the Constructors' standings as well. We were the only person to sneak into the 1-minute 9s in qualifying, so really, really happy with that one as well. And hopefully we can try and continue on with the good pace from qualifying, because sometimes this season, you know, we have seen different cars come into their own in the races. But in terms of the grid then, is Ferrari front row locker here, Charles Leclerc ahead of Sebastian Vettel on the grid, Lewis Hamilton in P3 ahead of Pierre Gasly in P4, obviously replacing Daniel Ricciardo, who got pole position last year. Bottas ahead of Verstappen with Hülkenberg, Perez, Daniel Ricciardo and Kevin Magnussen rounding out the top 10 there. Lance Stroll ahead of Grosjean, Sainz, Kimi Raikkonen, Daniel Kvyat, Antonio Giovinazzi, Alexander Albon, Lando Norris, George Russell and Robert Kubica round out the grid. This is hopefully going to be the last race I do as well without the updated patch for this game. I must admit this video was recorded a good couple of weeks ago, so sorry for that one. But yeah, here we are then on the grid, ready for the Monaco Grand Prix. A short run towards turn 1 should hopefully, theoretically, make it a bit easier to try and defend. But pressure is a very, very funny thing on the human mind here. But yeah, it's estimated that we don't go very far in the first stint. But here we are then on the grid, ready for the Monaco Grand Prix. The lights are coming on now. It is 5 lights here in Monaco, and it is lights out, and away we go. They're off to a decent start, that we do get the jump on Sebastian Vettel. They were able to defend on the way in towards turn 1 there, at a little bit heart-in-mouth moment as that red arrow seemed to get closer and closer to my gearbox there. But we do hold on to the lead through the opening couple of corners of the Monaco Grand Prix there, and that is absolutely critical there. Gasly has been able to move past Lewis Hamilton as well there, so a good start for the Red Bull man, but he does once again slot in behind the Lewis Hamilton, obviously the 5-time Formula 1 world champion here. But yeah, Bottas and Verstappen all seem to slot into order there. Daniel Ricciardo's had a good start, moving up past Sergio Perez there, and Lance Stroll is up into 10th place as well, ahead of Kevin Magnussen. So yeah, an interesting start there. A few chopping and changing there. Robert Kubica actually has moved up into P16 from very last on the grid, so a good start for the Williams man. But yeah, currently though, we need to concentrate on what we are doing in this race, and that currently is trying to lead the way, build up a little bit of a gap. It's quick but careful is the best way to describe how to win the Monaco Grand Prix. You know, it's, as we've seen time and time again here around the streets of Monaco, it is incredibly, almost impossibly difficult to try and overtake around this circuit. The only real way you can make places up is through the pit stop window, so we need to try and build ourselves up that margin of safety in the opening couple of laps. Obviously fastest lap of the race off the start there, and yeah, we're now up onto the end of lap 2 to over a 1 second gap by the time we cross the line here, so the pace is looking really, really good off the start here. I must admit, Monaco is probably one of my strongest tracks as well on the Formula 1 calendar. As we move on now to a lap 5, the gap up to 2.5 seconds here. Jeff saying we would probably be boxing in on the end of this lap, but we would try and go 1 lap longer in this race, you know, try and the Hypersofts have that little bit of extra grip in them, so hopefully, you know, we can try and utilise that to the best of our abilities here. But on to the end though of lap 6, and we will be diving into the pits on the end of this lap, and so far so good in the Monaco Grand Prix. We have just been able to comfortably control the pace in the early stages of this race. We would dive it into the pit lane, and so would Sebastian Vettel there. Not ideal for my teammate. Luckily we would have quite a quick pit stop, so it wouldn't cost him too much time there off the pit stop window. But yeah, not too sure what he was thinking there. Hamilton, Verstappen and Ricciardo all stay out from the front 3, but unfortunately we are going to get swamped by a few of the cars a little bit further down the order there. One Force India, one Haas and a McLaren there, so hopefully we can try and navigate our way past these guys as quickly as possible once more here as we come up the hill once more in the Monaco Grand Prix. We're trying to get back up to the rear of Carlos Sainz here in the McLaren. Obviously a bit of a rejuvenated McLaren for 2019, but I can't imagine they're still exactly where they would want to be in Formula 1. You know, it's been a tough, well, 6 years now for the McLaren team, and well, they're currently fighting with Haas and Force India, which is probably a bit better than they were able to say for most of the 2018 season here. But out now in towards the tunnel. Are we going to be able to make a move on Carlos Sainz? We get good drive out in through the tunnel, through the kink here. Are we going to be able to have a look down the inside in towards the chicane? We go side by side with Carlos Sainz. They've been given the room on the outside there, but right around the outside we go through the chicane, slam the door shut on the exit there, and that's us now back up into P6 of the Monaco Grand Prix. Probably not a critical move, but a move I certainly wanted to make because we did not want to sit behind that McLaren for as little time as we possibly could. And through the final couple of corners of the lap, we'd see Magnussen diving into the pit lane as well as Lance Stroll and everyone else inside the top 3 there. And that would mean we are now back up into the lead of the Monaco Grand Prix there. And now we've got a comfortable little margin there. Actually, Pierre Gasly would utilise the undercut very, very well there and move himself up into P2 of the race there. So the top 2 in the championship now into the top 2 places of the Monaco Grand Prix as well. So yeah, very, very good for Pierre Gasly here in the opening stage. Well, almost at the halfway stage now of this Monaco Grand Prix. Time certainly flies around Monaco. You certainly give yourself a bit of tunnel vision around at this place, and you know, just focus on keeping the pace nice and consistent here. Lap 12 though, we set the fastest lap of the race, 11.2, a very, very quick lap, if I do say so myself. And now on to lap 15 of the race, and we were just doing absolutely everything we needed to at this stage of the Monaco Grand Prix, you know, just controlling the pace and doing everything we needed to remain in control of this race. You see, by the final lap though of the race, the gap now is up to over 6 seconds here, so it's been a comfortable race so far in the Monaco Grand Prix. We're going to ride on board with Charles Leclerc through the final lap, and I must admit this would probably be quite a historic race victory. I think one that would most likely be loved all the way up and down the paddock here in a Formula 1. You know, Charles Leclerc in his first proper attempt, his first race here in the Monaco Grand Prix with a fighting chance of victory, has done absolutely everything he needs to in this race. You know, a comfortable pole position. Well, I say a comfortable pole position, no pole position around Monaco is comfortable. Certainly one that was right on the limit there, snuck it into the 1:09. So I think that would be the fastest lap ever around the Monaco Grand Prix as well here. And in the race, no one could touch us. Control the pace off the start, manage the tyres up towards the pit stop window there. And really after that, you know, we made a couple of decisive moves on the AI, but we made it work and we made it out in the lead of the Monaco Grand Prix through the final sector of this race. Then it is going to be Charles Leclerc for I think the 3rd or 4th time this season, but the very first time here in Monaco through the final couple of corners. A historic race victory for the Monegasque driver there. Ignore the almighty bottle through the final corner, a couple of 11s down towards the line. They're celebrating for glory. Grazie or grazie. And it is the race victory here in Monaco for Charles Leclerc. His 2nd race victory in a row there, as Jeff said, and an absolutely dominant Grand Prix here in Monaco. Fantastic race for Charles Leclerc. They're 9.5 seconds clear of Pierre Gasly at the end of the day. I'm sure Charles very, very happy with that one. And another 25 points in the bag. Further extends the championship lead over Gasly there, with Hamilton coming through in P3, Seb down in P4. Probably a little bit unfortunate to miss out on the podium there at the end of the day, with Bottas and Verstappen rounding out the top 6 there. Hülkenberg, Stroll, Kevin Magnussen, Daniel Ricciardo rounding out the top 10 ahead of Kvyat, Sainz, Sergio Perez and Alexander Albon down in a P14 there. But what a race that was, a Christmas miracle for Charles Leclerc as well. I know Santa is always associated with red as well, and certainly Monaco will be a red tonight after that one. And Romain Grosjean, Sergei Sorokin, Kimi Raikkonen, Lando Norris, George Russell and Antonio Giovinazzi round out the order there. Obviously, everyone making it to the end of the Monaco Grand Prix as well, something that we don't often get to say as well, you know, overall in Formula 1, nonetheless, at the Monaco Grand Prix. In terms of the Drivers' World Championship there now, a 20-point lead over Pierre Gasly there, with Sebastian Vettel still holding on into P3. The only real swap was actually Verstappen jumping Sergio Perez there back up into P6 in the World Championship there. And in terms of the Constructors as well, we still comfortably lead at the top of the standings. But there we are then, guys. That has been the Monaco Grand Prix. Finally, we have got the Monaco Grand Prix victory here with Charles Leclerc in our very first chance of asking. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching this video. As I said at the start, hopefully if you guys are new, you do subscribe. We would love to try and hit 10k by the end of the year. But that has been it from me from the Monaco Grand Prix. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed. I'm going to try and get more consistent with this career mode moving into next year. But thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time for the Canadian Grand Prix.